The economics of Magic the Gathering have changed a lot over the last couple of years with the loss of MSRP, the increased product release cycle, as well as the increased price. But what's going wrong? Welcome back to Kitchen Table TCG. My name is Louie, and I hope you're having yourself a fantastic day. Welcome to Game Grove. This video is sponsored by me, the local game store at gamegrove.gg. If you want to buy and support the channel, you can do so over at gamegrove.gg. I want to talk about a phrase. I've been really struggling with what phrase to use. The word prosumer is something that I wanted to use, but it just doesn't really work with the actual definition of prosumer. But going between a average Magic the Gathering consumer and what I am going to call the engaged flipper, which sounds horrible because the Pokemon world has turned the TCG flipper mentality into such a negative. But realistically, this idea of somebody who utilizes the secondary market to fund the hobby is something that has been pretty popular in Magic the Gathering for really since the beginning. Back in Legends, I don't know if you knew this, but back in Legends, they actually, the print run was split in half, and half of the uncommons went to the West Coast, and half of the uncommons went to the East Coast. And there's people back in Legends, all the way back then, who made a killing trading and selling cards between East and West Coast. So this has existed for all of eternity in Magic the Gathering. This idea versus the consumer, which is just somebody who is buying the product solely for the use of spending money and then engaging with it or playing with the cards. But the engaged flipper who actually has this idea of utilizing the hobby to either make a little bit of money or pay for itself. And so in this conversation, in this video, I want to talk about that Magic the Gathering has lost the engaged flipper. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I just think that it's a thing that's happening. Some of these other games that you're seeing get a lot of popularity and excitement in the secondary market particularly is happening because Magic has lost that engaged flipper, and that engaged flipper has gone to these other games to experience what they were experiencing in Magic in these other ways. And so first I want to talk about what is the consumer. The consumer, in my mind, is the person who comes into my store, they buy a couple of packs, they buy a commander deck, and they aren't thinking, what's the lowest price I can possibly get? They don't price match on TCG Player. All they care about is getting some of the cards that they want to play with, having fun with their friends. They don't think about finances. They don't track their collection. They don't understand the value of their collection. They are particularly the people who trade in cards. They are the average Magic the Gathering, in Josh's words from Hometown TCG, enthusiasts. They don't care about the secondary market. I would say the vast majority of Magic the Gathering players fit this kind of bill. They don't have a TCG Player account. They don't have an eBay account. They're not engaging in the secondary market as a seller. Compare this to what I think a lot of you on my channel probably are, which would be somebody who actually does follow the secondary market. And I would use the phrase, again, that engaged flipper is such kind of a negative connotation. That's not how I intend it to be. But people who, what I did before I owned a store, I would have a TCG Player account. I never traded cards in. I would sell my own cards to fund the hobby. And it was important to me. I would buy boxes at release, and I'd crack open 3 or 4 boxes and try to make my money back to pay for the cards that I wanted, and so that my cost of entry to Magic was cheaper. And that engaged flipper cares about playing the game and loves Magic the Gathering, but also wants to make it more cost effective. And Magic has lost it. And here's why Magic has lost that consumer, that prosumer, I guess you could use. Magic has lost it because of the increased price percentage and because of the increased number of products. It's just too much to keep up with. And that is why these customers are moving to other games. I think a lot of them are still playing Magic. They're probably engaging with Magic in a much different way. But they're still playing Magic. They still care about Magic. They still watch Magic content. They still are involved in that hobby. They're just not buying product. They're just not buying as much product. And that's why this is bad, because that engaged flipper is going to buy, like I said, when a new set came out, before I opened an LGS, I would buy 3 or 4 boxes of the new set at release from an LGS in order to open up cards and enjoy it and work with my online and all that stuff. I would engage with the product in a much bigger way. Now, if I was in that world, I would probably just buy 1 box. I would probably just buy the singles. I would probably pick up a couple packs to support the LGS, see what singles they had, and move on. I maybe upgrade 1 or 2 cards to my commander decks, but I want to engage with the product in a deep way. And that sucks for if you are LGS, losing those prosumers, those people who are really engaged who buy the large amounts of product. That sucks. I mean, that's a rough loss because you were counting on it. And that trickles down, in my opinion, to why we are seeing a lot of the Amazon dumps and a lot of, if you don't have value for that kind of engaged flipper, if you don't have value for them to interact with the product, they are smart enough to just not interact with the product, and then everything ends up on Amazon dumps and the volume sale goes down. So there is a sense of, is this good? And I am biased here as somebody who would have fit that bill, and really I am just a professional now at, I guess I'm not, I wouldn't say I'm a good professional at it. I'm working hard at it. You can make it better by shopping at gamegrove.gg. But I guess now I'm a pro flipper, right? That is the word, that is what I do. I own an LGS and I sell cards and I sell whatever. It might be good to lose that population in the ecosystem. I think Magic the Gathering and Wizards of the Coast thinks it's good to lose that population in the ecosystem. Now, I don't believe that. I just can see the idea from their perspective of they want to make, it's their business and other people are making profit off of that. I think that's where that comes from. I completely disagree with that view, but I do think that that's where they come from. They want to funnel all the profits themselves. They want to cut out a lot. This is how it feels in the LGS. They want to cut out a lot of our profit percentage so that they get the higher profit percentage. They increase the price at the bottom and it squeezes the gap between the two. So it works out well for Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast, but where it struggles for is the average consumer, is the average LGS or kind of that kind of flipper, right? So there is an element to, is this good? I know the Pokemon market is very active in trying to remove flippers and that kind of thing. But what it also does is it hurts the ecosystem of the LGS, which makes it really difficult. So, all right, that's kind of, now I want to get into, if you are a engaged flipper, if that's how you would identify for you, as that's how you're interacting with Magic the Gathering or TCGs, how can you still engage with Magic the Gathering if you're not interested in some of the other games that are out there, which are great opportunities to engage if you'd like those games. But some people just love Magic and they don't want to engage with a different IP or a different game. And I respect that and I understand that. So how can you continue to do that? Well, like if I were you, I would be looking for buying collections. And there are still, right now, listen, this is probably, maybe the pandemic was a little bit better, but this is probably one of the best opportunities in the last 10 years we have seen to buy Magic the Gathering collections from people exiting Magic the Gathering. There's a lot of people right now, because of the way that things are exiting, and a lot of those characters are exiting Magic the Gathering. So to buy collections in order to profit off of or to increase your collection and then pay the cost of is a great opportunity right now. Taking a look on Facebook marketplaces and eBay to a lesser extent, but your local communities, I think that is the type of prosumer engaged hobbyist that will probably start to emerge a little bit more of, is buying those collections on the secondary market, not necessarily engaging with the new products as much in a deep way, but buying those products, the cards on the secondary market from people who are exiting Magic the Gathering. And buying and selling singles is a really fun way to engage. You get to engage with the hobby in a different way that's a lot of fun. So I was talking to someone about that the other day. Anyway, I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are on this idea of the engaged flipper. Should that have the negative connotation that it does have? Should wizards want that person to exist in their hobby, or is it just bad for it? Should this just be basically a business model that is just direct wizards to basically the consumer with maybe a small profit margin for the middleman in there? Or is this the wrong direction? Is this why we're seeing dumps on Amazon? Is this why we're seeing that kind of stuff? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Hopefully you have yourself a fantastic day. Be kind to the people around you, and we'll see you again next video.